So you're in a relationship. Are you still you? And if you're not you, where are you keeping the old you? Because I think they're probably getting pretty cramped in that box you put them in. Hi, I'm Rick Higgins. Welcome to Mastering the Second Half. And today we're going to try to find that line between self and relationship. The strongest relationships are between two people who can live without each other, but prefer not to. Now, relationships are a wonderful thing. Many of us, most of us, are probably trying to achieve some level of wedded bliss. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's a good thing. But what I am questioning is, do you have to give yourself up in order to get that? Many of us believe that in order for a relationship to work, we have to give up parts of ourselves. And a lot of it has to do with roles that society has placed upon us. In days of old, women were told that they had to give up themselves to do the housework, raise the children, do the finances, do all of that stuff. Men were told kind of the opposite, that they had to put themselves aside because now they're a provider and they have to go off and make money and be supportive and protect their family. And for a lot of us, that's exactly what we did. We lost ourselves. We put ourselves aside just so that the relationship and the family and everything else that we thought we held dear could actually work. Now, granted, it is 2021 and we've put a lot of those old-fashioned notions behind us. Well, most of us have. If you personally haven't, might I suggest a few other videos in my relationship series. But the question remains, should we cut away parts of ourselves for the greater good of our relationships? So what happens when we don't fit into society's preset boxes, or when we do carve away parts of ourselves in the hope of having a better relationship? Well, one day you might find yourself depressed, sad, resentful, hateful, angry, hurtful, all of those wonderful negative emotions. You've been following the rules your entire life, and if the relationship's not working, well, that means there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, you've tried, you've done what you were supposed to do, but yet it's just not there. I mean, everything you've done is supposed to be making you happy, but it hasn't. Okay, I'm not going to belabor you with all of my tales of woe of everything that I have done up until this point, but I will give you a high-level timeline. I have spent most of my adult life doing exactly what I just said, following the rules, chasing the rules, and most importantly, putting myself aside for the good of the relationship. And none of it has worked. It has only been within the past few years that I have found any sort of enlightenment. And I hate to use that word, but what I have found is that you do need to keep yourself if you want to have a healthy relationship. Changes can happen, and I mean that in a positive way. Good changes can happen to yourself and a relationship when you stop trying to accommodate others, when you simply bring yourself to the relationship. Relationships can thrive when people learn to say no, when people stand up for their own rights and their own needs and their own desires. When two people with individual minds can bring themselves together into a relationship, absolutely wonderful, incredible things can happen. There is a line in a book called The Dance of Anger that I want to read to you, and it says, "Defining yourself or becoming one's own person is a task that one ultimately does alone. No one else can or will do it for you, although many others may try, and we may invite them to do so. And in the end, I define what I think, feel, and believe." We can't depend on others to tell us how we think, how we feel, how we want. Granted, we may try, we may open that door, we may welcome ideas and suggestions and thoughts from other people, but it's the word depend that you need to focus on. We can't depend or rely or count on other people to do that for us. Only we know who we are, only we know who we want to be, and in the end, only we can take what advice we want and apply it to ourselves. But to use that word depend or rely, well, when we do that, we are not building a healthy relationship. Everything I've read, every single article, research paper, science, therapist, successfully happy couples, they all say the exact same thing, that you've got to bring yourself to a relationship or it just cannot and will not be successful. And if you're anything like me, this is probably going to be a fairly new revelation. It's probably going to be something that's going to be a little difficult for you to adapt and to actually think about and to do, because all of your life you have been giving of yourself to others, and now you're going to go, oh, I got to give to myself. But trust me, you're not compromising. You are not being selfish. You are simply building a better relationship by building a better self. So love yourself, find out who you are, and with that, be healthy, be happy, and we'll see you next time.